This is my cooler Gohan mill deck. A copy of the leader. For cooler Tyrannical Assault. For full power Frieza 100% overdrive. For exploring weakness Vegeta. For Gohan opposing the demon. For Kaioken Goku. For Oceania Shenron. For Toppo Righteous Aid. For Frieza Death's Embrace. For Gowasu Manipulative Supremacy. For Beerus Super Combo. For testing that position. 4 Lord Slug Giant Force, 4 Senshin Sun Calamity, and 1 SS3 Gohanks Third Dimensional Warrior. So, not much different from my last cooler build. The only thing I did was I took out the Jiren Unison and I just added the Gohan opposing the Demon from set 15. Which, OMG. It's a reusable board wipe, and if you last long enough, right? It's a reusable board wipe. I would definitely use it in Boma, even though it's already a blocker and stuff like that. That's irrelevant. Still, it's a reusable board wipe, so it definitely would be a good upgrade for the Boma deck. There was a Gohan counter that if it didn't come in rest mode would have been decent in Boma, but it comes in rest mode, so it's less useful. So I'm like, I'll stick to the Dell. But we have this Gohan. It's really good, and like I said, it's a reusable board wipe. It will trigger the leader's ability multiple times. So yeah, definitely had a automatic and auto include in this deck. Definitely was looking for something like that. Plus, looking for something for turn 4. That's the most important part. Something turn 4 where I can minus a lot of things, so I can get more mills out of it. Because let's say my opponent has 5 battle cards, and I play this on turn 4 and then use this active main, resting a Unison or my leader, for example, and then just minus 15k to all my opponent's battle cards. Doesn't ignore barrier. Beggars can't be choosers, right? But it's still good enough. It'll potentially clear my opponent's board and get the minus, get the mills. So if they have 5 battle cards, they mill 5, which is the optimal mill. You want 5 at a time, right? 5 times 10 is 50. Even milling 5 times, milling 5 2 times, which is 10. Even that's going to be devastating to a lot of decks. Especially decks that people like to play ratios of 1 or 2 copies of cards. Another thing is I wanted to point out was, yeah, Bandai, thank you, and at the same time, screw you. This is a common from the set. I can only imagine how powerful the non-commons are going to be if this is a common. This has deflect, dual attack, and blocker. The reason why I even put the name Gohan in the title is because this card is that good. Plus, I needed a name for this upgraded version of the deck. So, cooler Gohan mill. The fact that I can board wipe every turn, it's a dual attack blocker with the flex, so I don't have to worry about Godzilla and Trunks. Doesn't have barrier, so I still have to worry about like Charismatic Villain Frieza, but meh, it ain't that deep, right? Like most people are not even playing Charismatic Villain Frieza that much. But they're definitely playing Blue and they're definitely playing Godzilla, so that's the one I have to worry about the most, right? But because I have Deflect, not a problem. So I can play this board wipe. Because we got Goku here, he has Deflect, right? And he board wipes. Now he KOs 20k or less, he doesn't minus. Vegeta is the one that minus 20k or less. So he's a little bit stronger in effect. But they only do it one time on the one time, right? He does it every time. Every turn, minus 15k, minus 15k. Right? I mean, we have this Unison which can do up to 2 battle cards, and so we can get 2 mills off of this, but this can give us more. Another thing is, this has nothing to do with levels. It's just battle cards minus 15k, which means tokens. So this can board wipe tokens, obviously, and we get a whole bunch of mills off of that. Which is awesome. Wouldn't be surprised I see this in like, what was that deck called? No, it won't be in there. It won't work in there. Never mind. I was gonna say like Android 18 or something. Anyway, enough about the awesome Gohan. Let's go through the deck. The main reason why this, besides board wiping being good in a dual attack blocker, is the fact that it has synergy with the leader, and you mill. Your opponent mills every time their battle cards lose the power that gets decreased, and this decreases power. So that's why I was an auto included in this deck, especially if I'm trying to get a lot of mills. So first auto, when this card attacks a leader card, draw a card. Which you usually don't want to do. Keep that in mind. You usually don't want to attack opponent's leader. Because if you deal damage, they add the cards to their hand, and that's an advantage. You don't want them to have less cards they could play against you, not more cards, right? So you're trying to hurt them. There is some draw manipulating capabilities of the deck with the Kawasu and the leader's mill ability. So that way your opponent always draws bad because you say so, and that's the way it should be. Mill control. So yeah, it's Cooler Gohan Mill Control. That'll be in the title. Yeah, gotta remember the control part because we have Kawasu. Second auto. When the power of one of your opponent's battle cards is decreased, your opponent places the top card of their deck into the drop area, and it's not once per turn. So for everything that gets their power, every battle card that gets their power reduction, the power reduced, opponent mills. So if you reduce the power of 5 battle cards, your opponent mills 5. Right? Common sense. And we're definitely trying to get that much mills as possible, as well as control the board. And the third auto, once per turn, just once. If it's your, and this is on the front side, if it's your opponent's turn, when the power of one of your opponent's battle cards is decreased by the skill of your battle cards, then you draw 1 card. So, for example, if you have Gohanks is not a battle card, so clearly won't trigger that the leader effect. But your Frieza will, your Vegeta will, because these cards can't do their minus effects on your opponent's turn, so, and they are battle cards, so they will trigger the leader's front effect. Then to awaken, when you have 4 less life, draw a card, untap an energy, and flip this card over. First auto, when this card attacks, period, draw a card. So that means you can attack opponent's battle cards on purpose, right? Just keep their board clear of threats, and start draw because you want to have cards to defend and to play and to beat your opponent with, obviously. Second auto, when the power of your opponent's battle cards get decreased, your opponent mills the top card of their deck. And third auto, once per turn, when the power of your opponent's battle cards is decreased by the skill of your battle cards, draw a card. So this third effect can be triggered on either player's turn, not just your opponent's turn. So you can draw when you trigger its effect, but it only applies when using battle card effects, like obviously Cooler can be used on either player's turn. Same goes for Frieza, Vegeta, the one-drop Frieza, Kaioken Goku. Gohan, of course, can trigger the leader's draw effect from decreasing the power of battle cards. So there's that. We have Cooler, Tyrannical Assault. Nice 20k, double strike. As a rival for red blue energy. And we have the Beerus Super Combo to help us, get this out for 1 energy. So we could do a turn 1 Cooler play and mill our opponent. Auto, when you play this card, your opponent chooses 1 card from the top of places the top card of the deck to the drop. So they automatically mill just for this being played. Then you choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring Bear, which is important, right? And minus 10k from those battle cards for the duration turn. So you can play this defensively, make your opponent mill 1 card, decrease the power of 2 battle cards with this, And since this is a battle card, decreasing the power of your opponent's battle cards, you'll draw a card for the leader's auto. And since you did this on your opponent's turn, right, you're going to draw for that. And then you're going to make your opponent mill 2 more on top of the fact you already made mill 1. So you will make them mill 3 cards just by playing this on your opponent's turn, which is the most common time you'll want to play this to get the most out of your leader. Plus, it makes a good battle trick. So play the Beerus, which, by the way, lets you untap multicolor energy. Obviously, you want to charge 1 multicolor energy on turn 1, so that way you can do the Beerus Cooler Technical Assault combo turn 1, and try to get at least 3 mills. Especially aggro. This play is mainly for aggro. If your opponent is just charges the energy and attack with the leader, it's pointless to play this combo because you want to do it when they actually have at least 2 battle cards, right? So that's when you want to do it, so you can get the mills. So keep that in mind. It's more for aggro decks that like to go wide. Then we got full power Frieza, 100% overdrive, 30k triple strike. We mainly use it for both its autos. The first auto is when this card attacks, choose all of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier, and they get minus 30k power for the duration of turn. So this can take down some big battle cards. So this can definitely clear your opponent's board. And of course, it's all minus 30k, so it will trigger the leader's mill auto. So if your opponent has 5 battle cards, your opponent will mill 5. But it has a second auto that says when the power of one of your opponent's battle cards is decreased, your opponent places 2 cards from the top of their deck to the drop area. So by each battle card that you minus with the minus 30k ability, your opponent will mill 2 cards. Plus the leader will make them mill another card for that. So your opponent with the leader in combination will make your opponent mill 3 cards for each make your opponent mill 3 cards for each of their battle cards that got their power reduced by this card's first auto, which means they have 5 battle cards. They'll mill 15, which is the goal you want. I'm not going to go through the mill math that was in the last version of this deck profile. The mill math of, I can mention real quick. Basically, you definitely want to mill your opponent 12 right off the bat. Like your goal is to mill them 12, then mill 15 from playing this. This Frieza and swinging with it while they have 5 battle cards or more, so you can get more mills. Obviously, 18 or plus mills is always good. Because they'll already be drawing close. They'll be drawing like about 15 cards off the bat. You mill them 12 more, so that's about 26. That's a little over half of their deck if they're playing a 50 card deck, and you want to make them mill 15 more. Right? So that means there's roughly like 10 cards left, but by the time you play this, they would have drew 5 cards for 5 turns, right? By the time you play this, which means they'll have 5 cards left. And if they're attacking with their leader and drawing with their leader, then that's for those 5 turns. That's an extra 5 cards. So I take the fact that they draw for the turn, they attack and draw for their leader for 5 turns. That's 10. So 10 plus the 15 from the Frieza, that's 25. Plus the fact that those they'll start off with like 4. They'll start off with 8 cards in the life, 6 cards in hands. So that's 14 cards. So plus the plus you mill them for 12. So you want to mill them for 12 minimum by turn 5. So you're gonna try to mill them. Mill 12 cards by turn 5. Hopefully they are drawing for their leader every turn. They're definitely going to be drawing for their turns, so that's at least guaranteed by turn 5, at least up to 5 cards they drew. Plus the first 8 life, the first 6 cards they start the game off. You just start adding it up, and it should add up to like 50 plus. So that's the idea. And the more mills you get, the better, obviously. I'm just giving you the basics that you should be able to mill your opponent for at least 12 or more, and then with Frieza, 15 or more. And that should be more than enough to mill your opponent out, because everything else in the game would already get them to a position where the deck is low enough that milling them for like roughly 30 should be enough. They should already, they should have used up about 20 of their cards in the first 5 turns of the game, that all they have left is 30, so all you have to do is mill them 30, you know what I mean? You get the idea. Moving on. I ended up doing the math anyway, right? So, Exploding Weakness Vegeta, counterplay, play this card. It has a permanent, if you leave your cards red, which it is, reduce the cost of this card in your hand by 2, so it costs 3 to play. Auto, when you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards. They get minus 20k power for the turn, for the duration of the turn, right? And if it's your opponent's turn, choose your leader card, and it gets plus 5k power for the duration of the turn. So you make your leader stronger, so you can, defend yourself, survive that turn. So you have to combo to try to, survive that turn. Your opponent's going to have to combo to try to do you damage, but that causes them to lose hand advantage. You're milling them, so they're losing, access to a lot of their good cards because you're milling their good cards. And if you're using Gawasu, you're making sure that all their good cards are being milled and all their drawing is trash. And then minusing 20k to all your opponent's battle cards, of course, will trigger your leader's ability to make the mill. Since it's a battle card that's making them lose 20k power, you will draw a card for playing the free Vegeta, so it will replace itself in value. So it replaces itself, and then the fact that it drastically reduced the power of all your opponent's battle cards, either they all get KO'd, which is always good, so you're safe for that turn, or they're just drastically weak, so it'd be hard for them to do you any damage, be of any threat to you that turn, so you can survive a turn. Plus, ironically, you want them to kind of survive that turn, because then if you did this on before your turn 5, they'll still be, the battle cards will still be there, so that way when you play your full power Frieza and swing, you'll be able to minus 30k from them and get rid of them, right, on turn 5, and then mill your opponent for 15 cards if it was 5 battle cards. So this will get you 5 cards if your opponent has 5 battle cards, right? So your opponent will mill 5 by playing this, then you play this on your turn and make them mill 15 more, right? So then that's a total of 20 just from that 2 card count. So when you have 4 energy, you want to keep those 4 energy up, right? And then on your opponent's turn, they'll try to go wide. You drop this, make them mill 5, then survive that turn, and then on your turn, drop this, swing, make them mill 15 more, and a total of 20 right there, which gets you closer to end game, right? Just with those 2 alone, so shouldn't be that hard to mill your opponent out. I won, obviously through decking out. I won through using Oceanus and Vegeta together to mill my opponent out. Anyway, back to Gohan. Not gonna spend too much time on him because I already spent the beginning of the video talking about him. But already mentioned, he has the ability, he has deflect, dual attack, blocker, 20k, right? You can swing with him twice, apply pressure, hit a unison more than once because he has a 20k body. So you could kill unisons with this. You can attack and then put it back in active mode, right, and keep it in active mode so you can block it because it is blocker, a 20k blocker at that. So that's good stats. So in some ways it's it's similar to the Gohan's unison, so that's nice. And then of course it's active main. Choose one of your lead cards or unison cards and switch it to rest mode in order to choose all of your opponent's battle cards, and they get minus 15k power for the turn. So this can help you every turn trigger the ability to make your opponent mill. And just really good cards. Something I've definitely been waiting for. Ironically, Frieza Frieza, even Lord Slug was supposed to kind of be like a reusable engine, a reusable minus engine, so that way I could keep making my opponent mill every turn. but this is way better. One, because it doubles as a board wipe. Of course, it's a blocker, right? It's dual attacker, so it's a potential sword and shield right there. I attack with it, restand it, use it to defend, and so forth and so forth. Don't need to spend too much time with him. You know, that boy good. That's a good boy right there. Alright, so Kaioken Goku, deflect, 15k auto. When you play this card from your hand, choose all your opponent's battle cards with 20k power or less and KO them. Has the active main ability, pay 2 red. If your leader card is red, which it is, you can discard this card from your hand to choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, which is important, right? And minus 25k for the turn from that battle card. So this can help you deal with any problematic battle card that has barrier that you definitely want to get rid of. So it's a bit of a spot remove. Plus, it's a minus effect, so it will trigger the leader's ability. It's a battle card with a minus effect, therefore it will trigger your leader's ability to help to let you draw. So when you're on Awakened side, of course. So keep that in mind. Oceanus, negative energy explosion. She's a blocker with the counter attack skill. Counter attack, choose one card from your hand, discard it, and play this card. Negate the attack and then play this card. If you played a card, your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they place the top 4 cards of their deck into the drop area. So it's kind of like Tobo, but it makes your opponent mill instead of discard. Tobo, of course, is here to help us survive a turn, obviously, because we always want to get to turn 5 so we can play our main win comp, which is our Frieza, and Frieza with the leader. Mill 15 or more strategy. So Topo obviously is to help us get there. Oceanus also to try to help us get there. With the floodgate, Vegeta can potentially help us get there to get into that turn 5 and go for game. And Oceanus, you play a card to trigger the effect. If I'm right, the way it's worded is you have to play a card first, then her. So a good combo. Something I like to do is play Vegeta to get the minus effect. And if my opponent, still wants to attack, like with their leader or something, or a unison, since this only affects battle cards, I could use this to negate a leader attack, for example, and then get this on the field, have the effect active. And if my opponent, decides to attack with a unison, they'll have to mill. Plus, this is a blocker, so I can still block an attack if I want to. So I can block the unison attack if need be. And if they, choose to attack with their weak battle cards that got weak by Vegeta, then they mill, and again they're weak, right? And Vegeta made my leader stronger by 5k. It'd be easier for me to defend, and my opponent would have to use more cards from the hands to try to deal me damage, and that's if they want to deal me damage, right? So it kind of works like a mill Topo, right? So it hurts them both. So yeah, like I said, you get to mill your opponent, and at the same time, if they want to try to attack and combo to try to make up for the power reduction from exploding weakness Vegeta, if they want to try to deal damage and their lose hand advantage, as well as lose deck advantage, lose cards from their deck, which gets them closer to losing. So it's a good idea that they don't attack, because that gives me the advantage, not them. Topo, counter attack, choose one card from your hand, discard it, and then negate the attack and then play this card. Permanent, it costs 2 less to play on your opponent's turn, so it's a 2-drop. And auto, if it's your opponent's turn, when you play this card for the duration of the turn, your opponent can't attack unless they choose 2 cards from the hand and place it into the drop area every time they attack. This is obviously really good against anything that has dual attack, triple attack, stuff like that. A lot of players, have already been told long ago that they should definitely be looking towards dual attack and triple attack. Cards, anything that can attack more than once, must have decks, and anything with barrier obviously must have in decks as well to help you, combat a lot of the meta stuff, a lot of meta cards, a lot of the things you have to deal with. Because there are floodgate negates, we got, test out position. They can stop 2 attacks. So 1 attack return is not good enough. Yeah, you have to be able to attack more than once. So that's the importance of that card. So, obviously this will help you survive a turn, get to turn 5, which is always the goal, to get to your kill turn. Top priority is always to try to get to your kill turn. Even if you can't kill your opponent in your kill turn, still try to get there. You know what I mean? Just make a habit of doing it. Even if you can't kill your opponent on your kill turn, still make a habit of trying to get there. Because sometimes I'll get a little distracted and I'll just like go all in and forget that, oops, I was supposed to make sure I get to the next turn. I was too busy doing stuff this turn that I forgot that I need to make sure I can make it to the next turn. So, you gotta plan, you gotta assume how many attacks your opponent might do. That's why stuff like, Topo and Oceanus and Test Out Position and Violent Rays and Violent Nimbus and so forth. Even Vegeta, anything that can help you like floodgate defend or like greatly increase your chances of getting an extra turn. You gotta keep in mind, and it's definitely better than trying to super combo your way out of losing a turn. You rather use floodgate negates or some type of reliable defense to at least drastically reduce how much damage your opponent can do to you, so you could survive. As long as you survive with 1 life, you're still in the game, and that's always the goal. So moving on, Frieza's Death's Embrace. Auto, you play this card, draw a card, so it replaces itself, so that's good. And active battle, pay 1 red energy. Choose up to one of your opponent's leader cards or battle cards and minus 10k power for the duration of the battle for this effect. And this is not a once per turn ability, so you can use it more than once. Of course, you can use this on something that's already been minus. I'm referring to the leader. You can minus 10k from the leader and then minus 10k again, and then keep doing that. And your opponent's power will be in the negatives. So when they combo, they have to combo to get back up to the positive. They still have to take that to account. So they have to combo to counteract the effect of your effect. Your effect is stacking up. So if you pay 5 red energy, you minus a 50k power from your opponent's leader. So they need 50k plus an extra 15 just to get back to. So they'll need 65k just to get back to the 15k base power if they're awakened, of course. And then to try to out combo whatever you attack with, they need more than that. So very powerful card, especially if you're trying to go for game. We do have a triple strike, a double strike. We have this, unison. You can use as a win con because he can't become a 40k triple strike. They can attack twice, which is always important. So this combined with this greatly increases your chance of winning. Same thing for this, for any of these. So obviously a great card to combine if you're going to try to win through attacking instead of milling. And then is the fact that this effect can be used on either player's turn. It can be used obviously on battle cards so that we can trigger your leader's mill effects, and being able to use this effect more than once can get you more mills. So that is nice. What's also nice about this effect is that every time you trigger it, you can choose a different target, so it doesn't have to be whatever they're attacking, right? It could be something they're attacking, plus another battle card that they want to attack with, another battle card. You can hit the leader just in case if the leader hasn't attacked yet, or use this against the leader if they attack the leader first. Then keep paying and start hitting your opponent's board. If you use it right, you could wipe out their whole board and they'll with the leader's effect. So that's a plus there, especially if they have a lot of little weak tokens. You can wipe them out with this. So it's just depends how you use it. You get the most out of it. Then we have Gowasu Manipulate Supremacy. This has the active main ability of once per turn. Look at up to 3 cards from top of your opponent's deck and then put them back in any order you want. That alone is powerful. I was in a duel where that made a huge difference. You know, I was able to stall for a lot of turns because I was making it really, really hard for my opponent to get anything good. You know, I was slowing them down drastically with this, and they gave me props for this card. You know, for the tech, because they like the idea, like, oh, okay, you get to control what you mill. Like, yeah, that's the point. This gives me control in general, you know, control what you draw, but yes, combined with the leader's mill effect, I get to control what I mill, so I'm not milling randomly, because I might end up milling a whole bunch of useless cards, and then my opponent draws a really good, powerful card that helps them win, right? And you don't want them to win, you want them to lose. That's the whole goal, right? So this lets you manipulate the top 3 cards of the deck, trigger your mill ability, and then mill what you want. That's why the ability to mill more than once comes in handy. Because remember, you manipulate the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. You know, so being able to mill once or twice is very useful. If you have multiple copies of this out, what you can do is trigger one, right? Manipulate the top 3. Activate a mill effect, like let's say Frieza's Embrace, right? And get its get a mill off, then trigger Gowasu's effect again, and manipulate it to top 3. Something you could do is manipulate the top 3, right? Put 2 really good cards at the top. Make them mill twice to get rid of those 2 cards. Then activate Gowasu's effect again to look at the top 3, and then manipulate, stack those 3 and mill them and all that good stuff. And by doing this, manipulating their draw, one, you're making it hard for them to draw anything good. Not only that, you know what they're drawing, right? You know what the next 3 cards are going to be. So that's a lot of knowledge right there. That's hand knowledge right there. That you can fully take advantage of. And then Shinron Unison's -2 ability lets you look at your opponent's hand and get rid of a battle card with 25k power less. So these 2 combined can help you greatly reduce your opponent's hand. So there's some hand control elements in that. Using the Unison to rip stuff out of your opponent's hand. Using Gowasu to make it when they draw bad, shitty cards. Mill the good stuff, with the leader and all your other mill effects. Lord Slug has crit, so you can attack your opponent's leader and crit them, in case you want to try to win through attacks as well as through mill and do both at the same time. And you're not adding anything to your opponent's hand through the crit effect, so you're taking advantage of that. Plus, this has the effect of minusing something by 10k ignoring barrier, so that's obviously useful in that regards. So, moving on, use super combo. If your leader card's red or blue, the leader card's red, we can, if we combo this on our opponent's turn from our hand, choose one of your red-blue multicolor energy and switch it to active mode. So this will let us untap our multicolor energy, so we can do an arrival play for our Cooler Tyrannical Assault, or just use it in general just to untap energy. In case we want to play like a topo, or for example, you play, you will use this to untap your energy so that we could be able to play Oceanus, for example. Drop a testing opposition for free by taking a life when you have 5 or less life. So that way you can negate an attack and have a blocker. Then drop this, negating another attack, and since it is a blocker, now you have this and a token that can block. So you could potentially block 2 attacks, and you have Oceanus' effect active. So there's one way you can use these cards together, obviously. We got the plus the 0 cost 10k, can come in handy. Combining this with Frieza's Embrace, you can make any attacker any attack really strong. I mean, you can just swing with Topo, activate this card's effect, play super combo, and just, you know, get that 1 damage to go through there. This would be hard for your opponent to out combo, which is always good to do. Put your opponent in that bad position. Let's see, and then testing that position, counter attack if your leader card's mono red, which it is. Negate an attack. Play a Cyberman token with 5k power, 0 cost, 5k combo power, and block your skill, right? Permanent. If you have 5 or less life, you can activate this card's counter skill by adding a card from your life to your hand and playing this. This effect is not once per turn, so if you have multiple copies of this card and like to add to your hands for each copy, you can play multiple copies and stop up to 2 attacks. Potentially stop up to 2 attacks per each copy, which can drastically, get you an extra turn, which is always the goal, is to get to the next turn and to the next and to the next and to the next, so you can play your, so you can play your deck strategy, your win con, and get to your kill turn. You always want your kill turn to be sooner than later, but if it's later, you really got to get good at getting those extra turns. Making your defensive plays to always get them extra turns. Lord Slug, Giant Force, like I said, it has crit, active main, where you can choose a card from your hand, discard it, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignore and bury minus 10k from it, so you can trigger your leader's ability to mill. You won't trigger your leader's awakened ability to draw from this, because this is a unison, but you will get to be able to make them mill, which is the most important part. Then this has the -4 auto ability if your leader card's red, which is when your opponent activates a counter skill, deal 1 damage to them. So this is good when your opponent tries to play like some counter attacks, testing out position type cards. This can trigger and burn them. So you can win through burn, you can win through, double striking your opponent for game, triple striking them, or just through mill. So there's multiple win cons in here if you use the cards right. Then we have Shenron. That's a permanent where your red cards, which means your leader, unison, and your battle cards, can attack mode cards, which is always useful in case your opponent is trying to prevent you from attacking battle cards by leave them in an active mode on purpose. You can bypass that with this. Just like using the ability to minus your opponent's battle card's power to make them weak enough, and then attack them to take them down, making your opponent's battle cards weak with Shenron's +1 ability, which lets you choose up to 2 your opponent's battle cards, minus 15k power for them for the duration of the turn. Then you can attack with Shenron and your leader and take down those 2 battle cards. So you get 2 mills for doing that, plus you can attack them and get rid of them, so that way opponent can't use them on the clef, or just have them at all, especially if they're like problematic battle cards. If they're blockers, you definitely want to get rid of them so they can't stop you from attacking, especially if you're trying to go for game. -2 ability, active main, look at your opponent's hand, choose up to 1 battle card with 25k power or less, and discard it. So again, this combined with the Wasu gives you a lot of hand control. You're controlling what they draw with the Wasu, and you can use Shenron to take anything good from their hand, like a Topo or Oceanus or any type of rival battle, counterplay, anything that could be a problem. This can help you take care of that problem, make it hard for your opponent to play the game. And the last card is SS3 of Gohan's Interdimensional Warrior. It's your ultimate. It's 25k dual attack blocker. So you can attack with him, stand him, and use him to block. He has the auto. Then when you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignore and bear, which is important, right? And minus 25k power for duration turn. So it's a lot like the Vegeta, the Frieza, and the Gohan with the minusing power. So of course, as you can see, there's a lot of board wiping capabilities in this deck, and since a lot of these are minusing effects, they will trigger the leader's ability, so your opponent's going to mill a lot. Especially if they go wide, that's good for you, because you get to mill more. Has a +1 auto when your opponent attacks with a battle card, you can choose that battle card and minus 25k power from it, which will obviously trigger your leader's ability to make the mill. And there's a +1 mark ability, so the fact that it's a blocker, this will give it a marker that you can use when you block. You'll lose that marker, and this will stay on the field, so it helps it stick on the field longer, which is always awesome to have. Something that stays on the field longer, especially something like this defensive, because it's a blocker plus the auto, it can potentially stop 2 attacks a turn by itself. And then it has a -4 active main ability. This card gains 15k power and triple strike, so it becomes a 40k triple strike, and it already has dual attack, so it can attack twice, so that's potential 6 damage just by itself. And at the end of the turn, switch attack to muscle. Even if your opponent survives a 40k triple strike, swinging at them twice, at least it'll restand at the end of the turn, so you can use it to block potentially 2 attacks because it's a blocker, plus it's +1 auto. So you could always try again next turn on Dragon Ball Z. That's the end of the deck.